Hello guys and welcome back. We are continuing the story. I think this is part 5 at this point. I could be wrong. I don't remember exactly what we're doing, but it's fine. We'll figure out what we're doing. Let's talk to the innkeeper real fast. Did someone contact you about work for me? Very much so. Ask for Timo. She's usually at the creek just outside the southern wall doing laundry. She wants to find herself a husband. There's not much in it for you unless you'll be here for the marriage rites, but it will make her happier. Thanks. You're in front of the Ape Ale Inn. Do I need to talk to the trader? We've got 15 hours until the end of the day. Whilst I'm young. What about the potions? Nope, never mind. I feel like that if I have a little bit more money and I buy some of these goods, I'm losing my voice already, that's not good. Such as this linen fabric, for instance, I think I can get profit off of it by selling it to another settlement, but I don't know, we'll see. Leave the town square, we're gonna look for Timo. Before you reach the gate, you find 3 washwomen who are walking down the path, chatting loudly. The wet hair on their arms and legs shines, contrasting the mud on their feet. Some of them wear soaked shirts, all have their heads wrapped in kerchiefs. You know from the city how hard and sometimes dangerous their job can get. You glance over their laundry baskets filled with clothes, and buckets of urine. Once they notice you, one of them puts her things next to a fence and tells the others to go ahead without her. Her companions giggle, but loyally leave the 2 of you alone. I was hoping to speak with a vagger, a traveler. She starts and looks away. When she speaks, she's both very direct and distracted, struggling to explain her plans. Sounds like me. No. After a brief conversation, you try to sum it all up. So you seek a man who'd agree to take part in the marriage rites of your druids. She nods energetically, but then freezes. She's tanned from work, but her face is young and smooth, and since her hair is hidden, her bright hazel eyes keep drawing your attention. Not just any man, she interrupts you angrily. Someone who stays in the sun and works hard for us and our kids. You ask if she has any children already, and after another minute of her awkward explanations, you take a guess that she doesn't. If you ask if it would make a difference for her to move to a different village... you ask if it would make a difference for her to move to a different village. We live good lives here, safe and plentiful. I'd rather stay, but I could leave with a safe convoy. Alright. We're looking for someone to marry Timo to. Matchmaker, matchmaker. You're wandering through the village. A group of laughing villagers is chasing after a runaway hog. You smell the pleasant aroma of ground herbs as well as freshly baked bread. What can I offer to the guards? A hunting trip. You'll be a messenger between a few groups of hunters that will hide in various parts of the wetlands close to the southern road. This task will take you about half a day and may be dangerous. I could lose health. I could lose appearance. But, I get money, so I think I should try at least. We have lost some appearance. For most of the time you stay safe, but at one point you find yourself evading a pack of predators and your clothes are now soaked in sweat. Thankfully, your armor was able to keep you in one piece. If anything, I just need a bath, but I don't know where to get a bath from. And it's too expensive to rent a room right now. Oh, there is fish here, though. The village remains dead. I would like to wash myself in the river, please. Yay. Put on my clothes. Unfortunately, it's still empty. Ah. Inspect the shop tomorrow or later. Let's see if I can actually look at the village a little bit more. Southeastern part of the fields. You find a small backyard. The ground is beaten. The grass grows only right next to the buildings. It would have been a fair spot for training dancers and fighters. The stakes of the palisade are covered with playful carvings, left by children who are portraying monsters, weapons, and humans. The rubble has been pushed into the corners of the houses. The furniture is broken, but you find something of use in one of the piles. A slightly rusty piece of steel. Once you pull it out, you realize it's a quarrel for a crossbow, still usable. It won't be difficult to find a use for it. Alright, slight ache in my stomach. I have a time limit. Let's check out the main square. In every village, the main square is the fanciest area, meant to charm the travelers, yet this is way more than you expected. The houses are as big as in Hovlevin, and the paved ground took a lot of work and materials. The walls, now charred and riddled with holes, are made of an expensive coated wattle. I think the tiles for the roofs also had to be brought here from a different settlement. You peek inside the three smaller buildings, the rotting remains of their former splendor. The birds living in dozens of nests respond to your arrival with quite a commotion. You don't find even a single dragon bone, nor a tool or a piece of furniture left unbroken or unrotten. You're surrounded by bad smells, dirt, animal droppings, and garbage. The well also stinks. It has no bucket, but you'd be afraid to use it anyway. Who knows how many birds have relieved themselves inside, or how many old rats have found their death while climbing up the walls. Suddenly, you hear some sounds coming from the largest building. Your stomach makes you let out a painful groan. I need to walk away. I have to now. My stomach does not like being here. I would love to check it out, but I can't. Barren fields in the southwest. I don't have any way to investigate. Okay, let's travel. Alright, so we don't have a whole lot of time to explore, but we are going to explore further north. Hopefully we'll run into the next village. The road is beaten and free of litter. You notice paths between the fruit-bearing trees on your right, and soon after you ride alongside vast fields of broad beans, almost ready for the second harvest of summer. Then there are the green hemp plants, taller than you are, waiting for a scythe or sickle. The locals keep the beast at a distance, I guess. Starbucks's hooves thump loudly on the beaten track. The green bushes, shrubs, and trees prove that the soil here is fertile, yet the plants don't overgrow the road. These crossroads must be busy at times, maybe even patrolled. In the distant west, you can see the mountain peaks dividing the lowlands from the ocean. The road east leads towards the hills, behind which there are unusually tall, dark trees. There's a dense forest in the north from which you hear the croaking of toads. The last path is already known to you. You're surrounded by 4 signposts, all of which seem to be made from the same type of wood, now covered in moss and fungi. Yet the pictures and letters that cover the nailed boards are nothing alike. I can't remember what Thias told us yesterday, or the day before. For you guys watching, it was probably only a couple of days in between episodes, but definitely was some time in between for me. I approach the western signboard. It has 2 planks attached to a single post, both of them nailed with rusty steel. The lower sign is divided into 2 halves. The left edge is engraved with 4 simple shapes. squares with roof-like lines hanging above them. The other edge bears 2 engraved piles, one of them of horizontal rectangles, the other of inexact circles. You don't recognize the letters between these 2 piles. The upper plank is covered with 2 short words drawn in white paint, and right below them an engraved vertical rectangle with an hourglass inside it. Which to the east, the long plank attached with rusted iron nails is almost empty. It bears no words, only a single picture, painted with great care. It portrays a city-like gate with a watchtower to its left and right, and a couple of small conifers growing beside and partially behind the towers. So south should be pretty easy because we just came from the south. It's covered with green, blue, and white paint that portrays simple squares with roof-like lines hanging above them. Each square has a letter, large letter inside it, though you don't recognize them. Nevertheless, the pictures are not too old. There are no words or marks. The plank was attached with a set of wooden wedges. Alright, look at the north. It's attached with nails made of pointy carved bones. Oh yay! No. And divided into 3 sections covered with small engravings. The part on the left has 3 large squares with roof-like lines hanging above them. No other pictures or words. The one in the middle has only 1 square, but also a simple horizontal symbol of a fish and a short word beneath it which you don't recognize. The image on the right has 2 roof squares, but also 2 other images which you recognize easily. A deer and a standing barrel. I searched the area. The thicket doesn't help. You notice the remains of berries and pears, but most of them are already rotting, spread close to the wooden stools at the side of the road. The nearby creek is not impressively deep, but the beaver dam, for some reason, taller than you are, makes it wide and waters the surrounding soil. A few steps away from the southern signpost, you find something sticking out of a shrub. It's a moist plank covered by fungi. You try to move it with a stick in a gloved hand. After a minute or so, you confirm it's an abandoned sign, covered with green letters and a colorful picture of flowers and trees. I tried to figure out where the old signpost used to be attached to. The southern post is the only one with holes left by nails. Interesting. I wonder if I should go south first. Oh, I don't have much time. Sad day. If I go this way... 30 minutes. An hour. I feel like since I'm here, I'm gonna go north. So yeah. We don't have much time before nightfall, but we're gonna go north a little bit. Some parts of the road lead uphill and some downhill. The forests are lush but not too dark. The few foraging deer and boars keep their distance, and the birds are disinterested in your presence, singing cheerfully and preening their feathers. Sounds of an ongoing hunt reach you from the east, but none of the nearby creatures seem bothered. Once you get farther north, the colorful meadow reveals tall hills on the other side of the stream. But the road leads through a valley. There's a gentle plume of smoke coming from one of the mountains in the west. Cool. It doesn't look like a place on fire. Maybe there's a settlement. The road leads to a gentle creek. It is very close now. The road leads to a gentle creek filled with the buzzing of flies, mosquitoes, and gnats. You don't spot any critters along the tall meadows, tree branches, or rocky slopes. Seeing the shapeless dark vortex of wings, Starbuck snorts. I might look for a different route. I don't really want to worry about flying stuff. The path is barely squeezed between the hills, with no signs of settlements or game trails, and the grass is too tall and dense to allow you to safely ride through the wilderness. You won't reach the other bank without entering the swamp. Blech. I wrap myself up. It takes some time, but I try. to go forward. It takes you longer than you would hope for, but you manage to cover yourself with an armor of at least 3 layers of linen, leather, wool, and hemp. Only your eyes and a single finger remain without cover. Once you get closer to the ford, countless creatures beset you, making you instantly shut your eyes. They are striking the clothes, covering your open mouth, and hitting your shell like a squishy, buzzing hail. You ride forward blindly, trying to get out of there as fast as you can. But the insects stick with you for another few minutes. The red marks on your fingers start to burn slowly. Starbuck swishes its tail angrily as it turns its head to its left, observing you with one reproachful eye, pinning its ears back. You look around to make sure nothing will try to jump on you, and once you decide you're safe, you take off the suit. Unless you find an easier way to protect yourself, the insects will keep slowing you down. Yay. Seek shelter, travel. We'll go back to Howler's Dell for now. Probably should have used my torch. You approach the opening gate, then swiftly dismount. A guard approaches you, ready to take your mount to a stable. Hello, stranger. What news do you bring? We gossip. Even though Howler's Dell is a large village, life here is slow. The curious locals gather around to take part in your conversation. Blah, blah, blah. Recently, a massive beast has tried to make a lair among the hemp fields. It may be time to form a night watch. Ooh. You spend a few minutes with Starbucks, but before you reach the square, someone clears their throat. You turn toward a man in his 50s with large hands, an elegant beard, and no hair. The stable master, he both introduces himself and answers an unspoken question. You frown, then realize that you indeed saw him before, and your palfrey was nicely taken care of during your first visit to the village. Or, rather, I'm the one when 'tis necessary, but I'd rather grind flour, he says with annoyance. You do not think your beast waters itself, brings itself water from a storehouse and cleans its own shit, ne? Takes time and a half. If 'tis, he points at your companion, isn't it going to work for it, you better have a pouch at hand. You look behind you. The stables are not much more than an open shed with piles of planks, 2 donkeys, and a bunch of napping chickens. So you want money? He nods. For one day, aye, that's fair. He looks around, rubbing his hands together. He's definitely being a hard ass about it. I'm broke. He scowls at you but points at an empty bucket and steps away. I fill the trough with water from the creek and make sure Starbucks is comfortable. You're wandering through the village. An old fisher is walking nearby, pointing at a tiny sparkling fish he's just caught. A man is showing a teenage girl how to chop wood with a bone axe. We go to the square. It's getting dark and the inn is loud and crowded. The innkeeper lights up the rush lights. The workers drink and the guards are preparing for the night watch. If it wasn't for the presence of the creek and the uncanny lack of beggars, this place would feel like Hovlevin's marketplace. One of the tables is occupied by a dozen or so kids. None of them looks older than 12, and the youngest one, too dirty to resemble either a boy or a girl, is about 6. They are surrounded by their playthings, a mufflin on wheels, really, an elegant wooden sword, and a painted board covered with rocks, but they are bored and tired. Even though you only get a glimpse of them, the oldest girl notices your attention. She springs up to her feet and approaches you with a few skips. She's already pretty tall, dressed in a worn, subdued tunic, so long that it looks like a sack. Let's not... but then... We need to make friends, because this is the only place so far that seems particularly welcoming. So we should really, really try to be friendly. It would be rude to ignore her. She puts her hands together and puts on a grimace of playful misery. Master Roadwarden, hearing sense an antiquated salutation makes it difficult for you to hide your smirk. We here, she points at her group. Bored, oh so bored. She puts the back of her hand on her forehead, letting out a deep sigh. Please, master, tell us a story, or 2, for each traveler sees with different eyes. The last words sound like an echo of an old tale. Sure. The children gather around and ask you for a minute for them to gather their friends with siblings. After a bit of chaos, there's 20 young souls sitting closely to one another on benches, stools, and on the ground. The red-haired twins brought a blanket to lay down on. You have a shorter side of the table all to yourself. The older kids understand your lost look in an instant. They start to hush each other, which causes an even greater amount of noise, but in the end, there are dozens of eyes staring at you, with a mixture of boredom and anticipation. I want to tell them one of my adventures and spice it up. The story takes quite a bit of time and at one point gets a bit cruel. The youngest kid covers their eyes, which doesn't block their hearing in any way. As you get to the end, the tension disappears. The older kids clap for a bit, keeping their dignity intact, while the younger ones start to laugh and argue loudly about the best part of your tale. For some reason, two of the girls start to wrestle, pretending to be two of the characters that you just portrayed. Seeing this, the adults decide to intervene. You stand up, and the children do the same to show their respect. The girl that had previously talked with you thanks you for your time. I nod and I walk away. I talk to Eric's. I keep them in the hall. Smoked mutton, a sack of dried fruits, nuts, biscuits. We eat fresh here and pay with work. Coins are not worth much. When he thinks his lips move as well, let's say 1 ring for enough food to fill you for 2 days. I really don't need food right now, to be honest. In Hovleven, that kind of price would buy you 3, even 4 times as much food. If you're in a mood for spending, I also have something special. Just give me a minute. He goes upstairs and returns with a small wooden box and a hand-long leather sheath. 'Tis a teeth set. You're afraid of what he's going to show you, but when he opens the box, you realize he meant teeth cleaning. See, he points at 3 different compartments. Salt, cloves, and mint. You mix whatever you want here. The 4th holds only a small pestle made of polished stone, and here are the twigs you'll need. They'll last for months. Seeing you're not convinced, he takes a deep breath. Well, we do not let strangers bathe in our creek, but give me 2 dragons and I'll ask my kids to get you in shape. You'll get a tub with soap and rose oil, and they'll wash your clothes in the water. I'll cook you something nice, as much as you can eat. Show me the rations. I don't need the meal. I just want a bath. Just give me a bath. You don't keep track of time, easing your soul with warm water and whiffs of oil. You are served a raw cabbage head, a smoked quail wing, and a cup of yogurt. While the youngsters wash your clothes in the stream, after an hour you return to Eric's. Thank you. You're in front of Ep.4 Inn. If I sleep, I can get a little cleaner, but I don't need... It's just so much. Yeah, we'll just sleep on a mouflon pelt. There's a lot of mouflon. I don't know. Noise outside. You can sense a heavy, unpleasant smell coming from the cauldron. At least the fur is fluffy, and you can cover yourself with your blanket. This is gonna hurt my food and appearance again, though. But oh well. The sounds of rain wake you up briefly before you return to sleep. You think about your plans. Riding in the mud is difficult. Starbucks will have a rough time, especially on the unpaved grounds. It may be a good day to take a break at an inn. Really? I guess I rested badly. Like most people, you wake up in the middle of almost every night. Before your second sleep comes, you spend an hour or 2 taking care of your belongings, shell, and soul. Some people spend this time with their friends, families, or lovers, but your routine is different. If you don't have to take care of essential tasks... I'm gonna check on Starbucks, make sure he's okay. It's warm here, but the mufflin skin allows your back to rest a bit. You wake up a couple of times during the night. The smell of the cooked stew fuels your hunger, and the staff returns to the room once every hour or so to stir the pot. You wake up early, but leave the building to check up on Starbucks and give it water from the creek. The innkeeper is sitting near the door, from time to time carrying out another bowl with either stool or gruel. Thias is nowhere to be seen. Do I need to talk to her? I guess I can. The guard informs you that the mayor is currently busy, but he'll mention to her that you're waiting. You sit down on a bench and wait for a while. When Thias joins you, she apologizes for the wait. Welcome back to our village, Ghosty. You wanted to see me. Apparently there was nothing new, so I wasted time. I leave the square. And I'm going to travel, even though it said I should rest. I want to check this place out. The shapes of mountains are cutting through the horizon. The water gets gradually less muddy. The cleaner it gets, the more animals you see. A family of deer blocks the road, resting and enjoying the cold water, which would be deadly for a human stomach. You consider riding around them through the sparse meadow, but your presence also causes them disquiet. Without much haste, they regroup and run east into the leafy forest. Hope that's not a graveyard. Or is it a mine? I can't tell. You've reached Hag Hills! Yay! The wall of stones that has blocked the city's grasp. The one well-established route through them leads through the valley where you found Tulia's camp. There are no maps of the highlands nor local tribes, only stories. The beaten path leads you by the garden beds of herbs and vegetables to an old yet not abandoned mine, hidden behind a massive door made of steel. There's no hitching rail. A bearded, skinny elder sits still on a bench, observing you like a sculpture with his legs crossed and fingers interlocked on his abdomen. Distanced. I get off my horse respectfully. You dismount and keep an eye on Starbucks. You greet the man as he nods back to you. You mention that you have a few questions. There's cold civility in the air, as if you're sharing a table at an inn. I need you to look at me whilst you speak. His strict voice reminds you of a master of craft guild, though his thick accent distorts this image. I cannot hear without magic, but I'll read your lips. I've no wish to talk about your daily struggles, traveler. It's no refuge for strangers. Say what you're looking for and let our paths split. He doesn't yell, but his voice is not used to being opposed. His face is wrinkled, but he sits straight, with beard and hair still carrying glimpses of fair blonde. He's tanned like a worker, and his eyes are blue and piercing, as if they belong to an infant. I explain I'm the Roadwarden. What do you call him? Example, old man. As I always do with men, sir. Sure. He stares off across the garden beds, forcing you to wait in silence. The elder is tall, with long hair and a beard that was let loose a long time ago. His sandals are covered in dust, and you spot dirt on his clothes and skin. The woolen tunic and linen were made with care, decorated with colorful threads at the collar and sleeves. Now all the blues and greens have faded, and the fabric is held together by patches and stitches. His hands are still folded. The voice remains firm. You do not know our customs. Your name, your trade, your calling mean nothing to the forest. I do not know what you expected to find here, but this is not a place for strangers. I wait for him to look at me. The man stands up and approaches your palfrey. Without touching it, he observes its eyes, mane, stomach, and rear. Starbucks ignores this examination. My nose was right then. Asturion is dead, as are his plans. Such is the fate of all dreamers. He turns toward you with a grim look. Are you going to look for him? You nod. Why, if he's vanished into the fogs, there's not a point in putting yourself in danger. What do you expect to find? Sorry about the accent, guys. It's not a great accent that I'm doing. I need to know what the danger is he encountered. He's observing you carefully. Do you plan to get rid of this danger, or maybe learn from Asturion's mistakes? Or are you still thinking about leaving this land for good? He starts to chuckle. Only the right questions will bring you the answers. With lively steps, he heads towards the spring. He washes his hands once again, forcing you to wait. We know what he's doing. His voice is cold and confident. So what do you need? I know how I should have addressed you. I want to fix my mistake. I don't know how he wants to be addressed. Because I am not a scholar and I don't know what his title is. Have you met Asturian? He wanders among the garden beds from time to time, touching the leaves at hand. He was here more than once. He was not one to stand aside and let events play out by themselves. The villagers from the north are sometimes in need of my assistance, and Asturian was serving them as a messenger. He bends down and tears away a small flowerless plant. He wanted to settle down among these roads, maybe to live freely. He had great plans and wanted to make this realm flourish, to rebuild the ruins but get rid of the brigands, and clear the trade route. I told him that the forest needs no more people, and that his realm is too wild to feed and clothe everyone. His greed and dreams have eaten him, even now he is no more. He pauses and you can hear his heavy breathing, as if he's getting tired. He straightens up. And that's that, traveler. If you want to look for a shell, travel north, far north. People there should know where he is. Okie dokie. We already know he's north, because he's somewhere past or in White Marshes. But this guy acts like he knows that he's dead for sure, so... Can you tell me anything about the altar? He smiles. 'Tis the tree that you should pay attention to, the true gift from the forest. It answers to our offerings and rewards us with its magnificent fruits. They heal both shell and soul and make anyone who eats them stronger than they ever were. We gather around this altar whenever the winter ends, and whilst it requires a painful sacrifice from all of us, it requires one soul for the future like nothing else could. Yeah, we already had a feeling that it was the stereotypical pagan sacrifice thing going on. Just because of how swampy and dead the tree seems. Gives me Witcher vibes. How can you survive in this place? The path at the heart of the woods is quite... I'm looking for a job. He looks at the garden beds. We have everything we need. Okay, fine. What can you tell me about this place then? Your eyes sees what is to know. People found copper in the cave, and it's been abandoned for a long time now, so we turned it into a shelter to stay close to the sacred tree and its altar. We're servants, my wife and I, and this place is nothing more than a servant's house. How can you survive? Tell me more about the peninsula. Can? I've lived here for almost a century, traveled both by the paths and through the wilderness. His voice becomes stronger and makes you think of a bard. But I will never be your guide nor a teacher, and if there's anything I can wish for, it is that you will stay away from the woods. The creatures get angrier the more we take from them. They do not listen to our warnings, and one day they'll bury us under a storm of claws and fangs. There will be not soul to spare a tear after us. His eyes are as harsh as a hawk's, making him look like a priest who hears a child asking for honey on a day of ceremonial fasting. I can't speak. Do not poke the hornet's nest. Do not ride east. Oh, okay. And never use the path that runs through the heart of this land. That road was meant to save time, but brings only death. Be a servant, not an overseer. Do not try to bend this place to your will. He points at you and wags his finger at every word. Your will, anyone's will, is the key to danger and their salvation. I thank him. I'm not going to be anyone's puppet. I need to take some risks to achieve my goals. I will try to take these words to heart. Has anyone bothered you? He strokes his beard, but then grasps it nervously. There are souls who steal from White Marshes, a village in the north. They would not dare to show up here. But those brigands are brutes, simpletons. Eva, their leader Glacia, listens only to force and will humiliate for the enjoyment of her band. She will not be afraid of some lost Roadwarden. He lets go of his beard and lowers his head. She's drifted so far away from her old self, a kind, bright girl from Gale Rocks, loved by her parents, but now, do not cross her. She will find you. What can you tell me about the druids? Because I need to know. He strokes his beard gently. I'll ne'er share our paths with strangers. We are of N for the people of Howler's Dell and for the lands around it. Okay, fine. I want to know what happened to the village in the east. Is it possible you can tell me? And I'm not willing to tell you that. He raises his chin and his beard shakes. That shameful tale ought to be kept in the past for the sake of the living. Fine. Seems like the path of the Heartwoods is dangerous. It has a long and dark past and already caught many souls of its builders. 'Tis paved with blood, and last 10 years have revealed it was all for nothing. Since the days of, he glances at you, once again surprising you with how shiny and lively the blueness of his eyes is, of grand discord, the tribes of this land are locking themselves in their fields and houses, too afraid to leave them behind, too untrusting to meet other souls unguarded. 'Tis now the first road to be claimed back by the wilderness, and will ne'er be the last. You ask if he has any tips for you on how to survive such a trip, and he tells you it would be wiser to just avoid it. He then reaches to his pocket, grabs a leaf, and puts it in his mouth. Chewing gently. Death may take many paths to a stranger, but cats are the one enemy that's both as dangerous as in stealth as in combat. No human can fight it alone. If you see one of them and it's not too late, do not provoke it. Make it wary, but not scared. Look big, talk a lot, seek its action in its eyes. I don't think he's gonna let me rest, though. How do you survive here? His raised voice makes him sound like a preacher. One day, me and my wife will be but defenseless old people, but we've studied Numa and leaves for many decades. I heal wounds and illnesses of humans and animals alike, and the beasts listen to our whispers. The holy seed lets our shells wait for death and strength. Okay. So, I think he can get me the potion I'm looking for because he knows about leaves and stuff, but he's not being nice. So, I wish I knew how to address him. Can I enter the cave? I need a place to rest. I mean, I don't really need to rest, so I'm gonna travel. The Elder's Cave, an old mine turned into a hamlet protected by a metal door. This is Pell to the north. This is Tulia's camp. I feel like there's still stuff here that I want to check out. Check the fish trap. You pull the rope and see 2 flopping fish inside. Huzzah! Some luck! You prepare your axe, then open the lid and reach for your catch. You stun the animals one by one with 2 careful blows in the top of their heads, then finish them off with a knife, cutting underneath the gill plates. You spend another minute or 2 bleeding out the fish in the stream, then cover them with a waxed linen sheet. You should eat them soon before they spoil. I steep away. Alright. I could eat them right now, to be honest with you. Could be bartered for food or sold. Okay. Northeast. I want to look around the northern gate. Northeast part. The debris was partially moved outside of the destroyed houses. Oh my gosh. But you find nothing of value. The table, cupboards, shelves, and bits and pieces were carefully ransacked. The wildly growing vegetables and herbs are the only remnants of the abandoned gardens. You spot fresh human footprints at the entrance to the latrine, most of which lead to and from the center of the village. Ooh! You notice a set of simple tools leaned against a pile of rubble. A wooden spade, and a shovel, a pointed stick, a hoe with a bone head, and a stone axe. All of them are too old and too awkward to bother with transporting them around, but you'll know where to find them if you need them in the future. Nice. Main gate. The paths here have almost been reclaimed by grasses. To your east and west, you see shadowy alleyways behind damaged buildings. Okay. The whole place is finally mapped out. I would like to open the gate, but I know that it's been barricaded, basically, so that might not be worth doing. Look into the well. It's filled with soil, and you find nothing interesting about the area around it. Let's see if we can. It may take a bit of time, but with the wooden and bone tools you found in one of the buildings, you'll speed up your endeavor. Get the tools! You take off your cloak and put away your bags and satchels, while Starbucks grazes gladly in the meadow. After looking at the pile of dirt, you let out a sigh. You start with the larger rocks, removing the ground around them and pushing them into a single pile. Then you do the same on the other side. The simple shovel and pitchfork help you a lot, and once you get used to them, the work goes smoothly. You're done before you get too tired. From now on, passing through this place will take you less time. Got 9 hours. I do want to check out the square, but I'm not feeling good again. I'm gonna wash up, put on my clothes, and travel. And I can't really do anything about the insects right now. I feel like I should go here and see if there's anyone that wants to marry Timo, I think is her name. But I don't know. Go back to Howler's Dell. I don't bring any news. Oh, and then I can't travel up? What happened? Aw. Gossip. Enter the village. Stable master shows up soon after you step away from him. His lips are thin and he gives a longing glance toward the bridge. So every time I show up here, I have to spend money or something? Fine, here you go. Let him work in peace. Let's go this way, see what's over here. The path gets greener and meanders between the treacherous precipices. You ride slowly, passing by birds and ibexes, but in the distance you spot circling harpies. And below you, a roaming mountain cat pursuing a mufflon. You take a sip from your water skin, the air gets a bit dry. Let's hope the echo of hooves won't reach any larger beasts. The path leads you down again to a small, moist valley, impenetrable for a rider. The thicket is made of thorny shrubs, tall grasses, and the weak fallen boughs that nourish mosses and mushrooms. You examine the remnants of the path, covered with greenish puddles without their roots, and with a fresh layer of pebbles. It may still be restored. You look up behind you. The road is clear, no ambushes so far, but if you hope to clear this place, it'd be better to do so soon. It'll only get denser with the passage of days. Oh, I'm hungry, apparently. I didn't realize that would take 2 things. I was supposed to sell this, but I never sold it. Food ration. Eat a food ration to increase your nourishment by 2. Yes, please. Thank you. Maybe your muscles, not used to such tiring work, grow tired quickly, but you don't let yourself take a break. Soon you push yourself even more than from annoyance than anything, and only after you're done you notice the torn parts on your pants and sleeves. Aww. When it comes to pushing aside the bows, you breathe heavily, but you need only enough space to let your Palfrey get through. Maybe the animals will start to roam this place again, beating the path. You reach a convenient mountain pass with crags smoothed out by centuries of rain and wind. The sun warms up both the vegetation and the beaten road, and the only beasts you spot are loud rooks glancing at you from the rocks and branches. Clearing the rock slide would take hours of work. And a large group of people, while forcing Starbucks to climb up and down, could break its legs. It doesn't want me to turn back around. You climb up the rocks, having plenty of spots to rest your hands. Most of them won't move even an inch. As you get closer to the small dead tree, you notice something odd among the stones. Pieces of old fabric completely covered with mold, mostly like the remains of a tunic. Interesting. Alright, we travel back. What time is it? I got 4 hours. Travel. Travel time will take 4 hours? It sounds great. Let's do that. Let's go here. Talk to some people. The lights are a promising refuge. The guards have bows and spears in their hands, and some rush to the gate only to close it right after you ride inside. Bored with life, Roadwarden, one of them grumbles. Hence, you notice it's almost dark? Sitting beneath an open window, 3 guards are arguing about something, but then ease the tension with friendly banter. The innkeeper is sitting behind the counter, contemplating an empty mug. So you again, need anything? Do you have any leftovers? No, not today. Dang it. Do you have anything you'd like to buy? Let's see what you got. Raw fish. Don't put it on the counter if you may. He glances at your catch, then at the stove. My crew doesn't hunt for fish. The lakes and rivers are too far away, and they ain't trained with all the weaving worms and rods. Sell me 2 at once, and I'll give you a coin. I ain't wasting the firewood on just one. Fine. You pull out some items, but the innkeeper shakes his head. I don't need those, nor could I sell them to anyone. Sounds great. Let's go ahead and sleep for a coin. It's a good thing I did that fish. It's a calm, warm night. As your first sleep ends, you stretch out and prepare yourself for an active hour or two. It's time to take care of some things that must be done at least once every few days, though they are a bit more challenging than your nightly routine. It's time for my training. I practice cuts, stances, dodges, and steps, but also inspect every blade I own. The small room is quiet and far away from unwanted eyes. You take a calm bath, rest on a soft mattress, look through the window, and enjoy the minutes of safety. Okay. That's all. Any leftovers? No, not today, maybe tomorrow. Approach the guards. The guards greet you with polite nods or a casual hello. When the guard in yellow armor gets closer to you with a smile, the brown boar follows your steps. What brings you to us? I could do that. But they don't trust me enough. I don't think they're going to come with me. How about some axe throwing? If you think you can handle it, we'll throw 8 times, so it's going to take us half an hour. So 4 players, each one bets a coin. I'm ready when you are. Between the thudding of axes, there's plenty of time for casual gossip. After a long series of misses, you finish with one last point, the second last point. You give the gasping winner your dragon bone. No! I think we're pretty much out. Yeah, we're almost out of money. Damn. Cheers, he says, but doesn't make a big deal of it. The light-hearted comments of the other losers lighten up the mood, and the guard in yellow approaches you with a smile. As long as it involves someone paying for it, I'm ready to listen. What do you know about the pack? Without interruptions, you tell as much as you can. Getting rid of them will do the trick, sure, but as long as those buildings aren't razed to the ground, new beasts will move in, sooner or later. Though I ain't one to stop you from reaching into your pocket, a brief smile quirks her lips. Now you need to take care of some things first. Hunters or not, we won't raid a lair blindly. What do you want me to do? She lists your tasks one by one, in the meantime bending forward to brush the boar. Make sure you've looked around the entire village. My crew will get mad if it turns out that yet another lair is just behind the corner. Then be sure there's no soul around. When we fight, we don't do rescue jobs, and if we do, they cost a lot. The boar grunts and turns around, leading her to its other side, speaking of which. For you, it's going to be, she squints her eyes a bit, 13 coins. But we'll take some of the loot we find. We won't let go of the magic swords and rings just 'cause. Not that I expect any, she straightens up, but who knows? I'm bringing an axe with me. She looks at you as if you're a lunatic. We won't take you with us, Ghosty. If you can kill a goblin, good, but we have a team. Our own words, knowledge of our strong and weak sides. We don't need you around. Just give us 2 or 3 days after you pay us and we'll take care of it. We'll return to it later. Maybe I'll take care of it. No. I really don't think I could take on a whole thing of goblins. Alright, so apparently I can't talk to anyone here about potential matches. That's real sad. Alright then. Let's go here, set the fish again. We're gonna go to the main... set the fish trap. Step away, go to the main square. Check this out. I have a ton of health. I am totally fine. You've returned to the village, welcomed by the annoyed squawks of the nearby birds. You're almost sure something hides inside the largest building. I check it out. You step cautiously toward the scent of urine and sweat. The flickering candlelight shows you broken furniture, yet no signs of burnt wood. You consider pulling the other door when a masculine voice proves that your presence is not unnoticed. I don't want it to come to this. Best stay where you are. Whatever you put inside, be it a shoe, a hand, or a damn finger, it'll get a bolt. Distanced. I'm the new Roadwarden. Let's talk. A short pause. Well, we can talk, we can, but how is it that you chose this place to visit from all that there are? He goes on before you respond. It may be you're telling the truth, so let's say this. My little ballista here is all pulled and ready, but you won't do anything stupid, right? No running, no jumping around. Show your hands. The man's voice lacks confidence and his accent is tricky for you. He could be from the distant south, but as long as you don't speak too quickly, you understand one another. You don't hear any other movements, breathing, voices. You lean your axe against the door frame and make sure that your knife is well hidden. I walk inside. The dense smell of urine hits you with full force, while the tools and utensils are hard to distinguish from the rubbish. The route to the upper floor is blocked by the collapsed roof and loose wooden beams. There are scraps of rusting iron and steel on the ground, detached from now destroyed barrels. The scavenger is sitting on a blanket in front of the tent, pointing at the floor with his loaded crossbow. Not a short man, though a bit skinny. He's tanned, dark-haired, and has seen his share of struggles. There are long claw marks on his left cheek, and another one that would divide his eyebrow in half if it hadn't been consumed by fire, just like the rest of his forehead. His clothes are untainted by vanity. He's barefoot, in a dirty linen shirt with rolled-up sleeves and simple pants that use a cord for a belt. His long beard and hair are untrimmed and tangled. He's a scavenger, so he might take advantage of me. Don't really have much to my name, though, just food. I sit on the stairs with raised hands. You wipe the dust off the steps, but before you sit down, you hear the man's annoyed voice. Now, don't get too homey. It's the only place here that's not just ashes and debris, and I'm not sharing it. You better right ahead. I already piled up whatever wasn't rotten. The candlelights are dancing on his burnt face and arms. He moves his crossbow just enough to make sure he won't shoot you by accident. I saw your horse. Maybe you could help me, What are you looking for in this place? You don't sound like you're from the north. I want to make sure there are no undead crawling around. I need to know... Get to know the peninsula if going to patrol it. I'm short of dragon bones. I want to see if there was anything left behind. I've heard about some bandits that could have a hideout nearby. I'm looking for another Roadwarden. I'm looking for a Styrian. I have never met him. Bleh, surely heard this name many times. He vanished long before I got to the coast. At first people were asking about him. Now they think he's dead. Listen, he scratches his thighs nervously. I'm hungry, so damn hungry. I can't hunt or fish with all the ape men around. Can you share anything, Roadster? It may be a drifter, but wouldn't beg if I had not lost my bags on the road. I should have plenty of food. No, I don't have plenty of food. I would like to do more jobs, but I don't know how to do most of the jobs that I've been given. I guess I just need to keep, like, traveling. Take some cereals and crackers. He lets out a relieved breath. I may even boil it. After a moment of hesitation, he grabs a cracker. Without you, I would have to run after birds with my ballista. But need to save the bullets for the ape men, and because of those stingers, I can't roast here. And raw meat makes me want to puke. Thank ye. After a couple of solid bites, he puts your gifts in 2 wooden bowls. Now, Roadster, he says with a full mouth, if you have questions, ask. I'll say a lot to make you get me out of here. I should ask him what he wants. Where do you want to travel now, and what will you give me for my help? How do you keep the goblins away? I've got a trick or two to keep me safe. A little something that scares them away even without magic, but tell you what. His smile turns into a wide grin. Help me get out of here, and I'm going to share some of it with you. Help you get out? You could just walk out. Do you know what happened here? Well, I won't guess, but I saw many ruins. There's no treasure and skeletons here, so this place means as much as dirt. Someone was barking too loud, so the beast broke through and made them quiet again. He clicks his tongue, and that's that. Nothing about nature's fury brings bad luck, don't you know? Talking about nature's fury. I should ask him what he wants. I should. Have you searched? Are you sure there are no undead? Tell me about yourself. He gives you a sullen look. What for? I've no legacy to keep alive in tales. I may tell you this and that after you take me out of here. Ugh. This village makes me sick. Me too. In the guts and the thinker. Gets easier over time if you're patient. Must be the air. The smell of death. Death and ape-men piss. He pats his stomach while laughing. He's definitely lost some of his mind. So what are you gonna do if I let you out? Let me explain first. I was in Howler's Dell, the closest village to the east and north, and people there are nice, you know. Not like the old Pagos. They're all boring and grimmer than a crow, but they cry coin for everything, and damn good coin. I left, wanted to look around the ruins, see if there's anything left, then moved to Pelt and hired the hunters to help me here. No luck. A bunch of griffs jumped my pack bird. I just bought it. He spits on the ground, fast and nimble, but not brave enough to listen to me when all that screeching and scratching started. So it ran away with my bags. A few fell on the ground and I pulled them here, but you see how it is. I won't travel around with a tent on my back. He taps the crossbow with his fingers. I need maybe a day more. Just a day. And I'll have all the iron scrapped from the barrels so I can move forward. But I can't take all my stuff alone, and without me around, the 8 men are going to break in and steal all my shit. I need to stay here, but since you have a horse, come back tomorrow and help me return to Howler's Dell. How about it? I just need to know that the road is safe. Safe as it can be, I mean. I don't work for free. This doesn't sound right. I have ways to pay you, don't worry. I can give you dragons. But I'll have to sell the iron first, so I'll need a bit of time, you see. 5 for a short escort would be plenty, I'd say, but if you want, I'll give you a secret jar of mine, a very fine mixture that scares 8 men away. Works on pebblers, too. When you ask if all the stench of urine is somehow related to this potion, he just winks and chuckles. I would also like to learn more about the villages you visited. He seems surprised. I mean, sure, but I don't have connections there, you know, just my eyes. He starts to hum. You know, a longer pause. When you get to Howler's, you'll meet the mayor there, for sure, Thias. And whatever you do, don't ask her where she got the coins from. She's rich, stupid rich. But don't ask her how this happened. Trust me. He scratches his beard with a mournful look. I might have already done that. Oh well, what do you want me to do? I need you to make sure there's no danger hiding on the road from here to Howler's. Or rather, I know there is some danger, but as long as you can get there and safely return, I'm sure we can handle some roaming monsters. He theatrically rubs his hands together. This ballista has hit more beast skulls than I have fingers, and I've never lost a finger, Roadster, only the toes. Maybe to prove it, he starts to count on his fingers. So, see if the road there is clear. Then come here tomorrow. We'll pack my stuff on your horse and move out. But don't come here when it's close to evening. We're going to need 3 hours on our feet, and I won't push through the night. Even sleeping next to an 8-man tribe is safer, he chuckles. And don't make me wait for too long. I can wait for a couple of days if I find some food. If you don't come back, I'll have to risk it no matter what. If you want to go south, we should travel to Pell to the north. I mean, I see your point, but I've never been there. Can they afford my iron, or do they have means to pay for it? I need coins to find a handy bunch that will walk south with me. And I need a new staff and bolts. I know the village is a nice place, and it even has a smithy of sorts. I had a chance to take a look, though. It's a large inn, a safe one. They seem to be rich and have enough hunters to guide you south. You can use iron to barter. Good question. Personally, I like the hunters a lot more, just because they're a lot more... They're not necessarily chill, right? But they don't give me the vibe of, like... How do I put it? Like they're going to swindle you out of house and home kind of thing. That's not the vibe I get from the Pell to the north. Well, it's a shorter path, I guess. Fewer spots to get surrounded by corpses. If you're sure it's the best option, fine. I'll trust the roadster's judgment. But the difference is... difference being... We know Howler's Dell said they needed iron, so they will pay extra money for it. The armorer at... What's it called? At Pelt of the North doesn't have much experience in the ways of iron, so we're probably not going to get much money for iron. I need to think about it. Well, if ye won't help me, I'll save myself. He scratches the scars on his cheek. But don't leave me here, Roadster. Come get me tomorrow. It's easy dragons for you. I was meant to escort him tomorrow, not sooner. But I know the path is safe. I keep going back and forth. Are you sure there's no one dead around? He nods. I've seen none. People say it's been less than 10 years since the herds come here. But I don't know if anyone bothered with raising the pyres. If not, the dead are all roaming in the forest now. He clicks his tongue with frustration. It may be that there's a walker somewhere under the debris, waiting to break through like a dragon with an egg. He looks straight at you. You'd better not dig. Have you searched the entire village? Are you sure there's no treasures? You came to the wrong place. Time, moisture, and the damn boars devoured all the loot. I've even been here for a couple of days now, and all that's left is this iron I carried. I was planning to get back here with some hired muscle and clear the collapsed buildings, but I doubt it's worth the time and risk. What about bandits? Nah, I think they're all in the north or east. I stick to the western road and no shell bothered me. Sorry, can't help you. Alright, I'ma leave. I'm going to go here, I think. What's the time? Oh, it's still really early in the day. Damn. Because it's so early. I don't see anything that says mundane job, which makes me sad. Because it's so early, maybe we should go check this out. You cross a clean, shallow, yet wide creek that runs south, then follow the uphill path squeezed between the hills and the lush forest. You spend a good couple of minutes passing a haunting meadow filled with dozens, maybe 100 cut-down trees, now overgrown by bushes and grass. You can't think of another time when you've seen a clearing of such size. Seems dangerous. If this goes on, the animals will join voices to strike down whoever's responsible for this. The locals are surely ambitious. I wonder how far they can push it. After what we've learned from the druids, this does seem very dangerous. Once the clearing ends and turns into a corridor of trees and hills, you stop your horse. There's a monster in the middle of the road, reaching out with its long arms to grab and devour fruits and leaves from tree crowns, chewing them with haste. It's standing on its hind legs and leaning on a thick tail. As there isn't much hair on its gray skin, you can see its impressive muscles. The beast is 3 times the size of a human, and while each move it makes is slow, its long claws and the ease with which it breaks one of the branches make you think that a single swing could be or would be enough for it to pierce through your jacket, or, just as likely, that it would simply break your bones and send you into the air. Like most people, you know quite a bit about pebblers. Once they get used to an unfenced farm or a forest garden, getting rid of them can be a huge issue. There aren't many blades able to cut through their thick skin and bones, and a single mistake may put them into a furious charge, encouraging them to look for human dwellings, which they can tear down in revenge. The beast doesn't give you as much as a glance, but it also doesn't move away. The best you can hope for is that it's going to walk away on its own. Maybe tomorrow, maybe later. Facing it in a fight would end up badly. I return to the crossroads. Helping the one guy is probably for the best. Search the area some more. What was in the east again? It portrays a city-like gate with a watchtower to its left and right and a couple of small conifers. I guess we could check it out. There's not much else we can do right now. The corridor of leaves and gray rocks leads you to a gate, large enough for a wagon held together by a wooden bar. The planks and rocks are covered with claw marks left by various monsters, but they weren't able to damage the wall as much as the passage of time and the piercing rains. A large man covered in shadows is observing you from the roof tower. His voice is hoarse, distrustful. You lost? I don't know, you mug. Distanced. I'm Ghosty, the new Roadwarden, and you're the gatekeeper, I assume. Well, yeah, just on duty and armed, so you know. He lifts a loaded crossbow and sticks it out of the shadows. But I'm no enemy of yours. He leaves the tower. He's wearing a black gamison, so ragged it can't be fastened anymore. It tells a story of claws, thorns, and improvised repairs. The hole on the man's hemp pants reveals a scraped knee. It's hard to tell his age through his exhausted, sleepy eyes, a short, unkempt beard, and a bandage horizontally covering his ears and the spot that used to be his nose. There's clotted blood in his brown hair and mud on his clothes and brown neck. Despite all this, he's of a huge shell with wide shoulders and thick legs. He straightens up. So, a warden. You new to the job? New here, but I sort of know what I'm doing. No past would prepare you for the shit. Nights are all a piss and blood. Just before sunrise, a bird tried to pluck my eye. This gate here, he kicks a brick with his heel, is older than me. All there. He points behind him with his weapon. Wilds and beasts. My tribe built this place to keep them away from us, and us from them. He scratches the bandage on his cheek. Name's Quintus from Old Pagos. Been there? Not yet. So you don't know. It's west from here, behind the crossroads. But it's touched by sickness. We used to send one soul here every morning and escort them back before nightfall, but some days ago, no one came for me. I spent a night here, sneaking wolf shits almost got me. He picks up an almost empty water skin from behind a parapet and takes a sip. I went home by myself only to learn about the sick. I've been here ever since. What do you know about the plague? Not much. It kills. That's all there is to know. My tribe's smart, locking the gate. The rite gave them strength. About this gate. Here, see? He points at the long, twisted rope that hangs from an iron hook. I could climb down and remove the beam on the other side. You'll take down yours. You need at least 3 hours to get through the woods. He touches his stomach and takes a deep breath. But I need you to give me aught first. What do you want? I'm hungry. Bring me some rations, maybe. 4 meals? Oh, I can't do that. Dried meat, apples, nuts, maybe. He sizes you up 4 more meals, then I'll help you with the gate. Sure, I'll bring you food. If I can find it. Thanks. His smile may be disfigured by his wounds, but is as warm as his voice. I'll take any help I can get. I'm looking for Asturian. That's nice, but he hasn't been here in many days. You sure he's not dead? After you admit that he very much may be, he puts a hand on his waist. Well, better get ready to slit open every dragon belly in the wilds. Did he often travel through the woods? Sure, though on a different mount he had a saurian, 4 ibexes long, 2 ibexes tall. It moves on 4 legs and jumps high and far. It's dark green like rotting leaves. That one time I was taking a piss in the shrubs, and Asturian made the beast run up the rock face, and it jumped on that. He points at the hill, and they ran above the wall and landed on the other side just like that. He snaps his fingers, his voice and eyes gain new vigor. You say the saurian was large and green? I mean, not everywhere. He points at his eyebrows. He has red scales here, and on the tail and shoulders, I think. I don't know what to call it. You ask him for a bit about Asturian, but he has little to add. There used to be 6 of us keepers. I saw him every now and then, but not that often. What's it like to live in Old Pagos? He opens his mouth, giving you a puzzled look, then lets out a weak chuckle. What am I to say? We've got rocks. He taps the wall and make houses, bowls, tools. We sell them too. We grow oats and broad beans. Ibexes give us wool and skins for monks. What do you call it? The one ye write on. He moves on when you mention parchment. Yeah, it's a good place. Beautiful. Old. Hill. That's what Pagos means. Old hill. When you bring up the monastery, his eyes get brighter. Good people. They came here on a mission, teaching us Right's book. My grandparents were pagans, you know, but we now follow the river of truth. We keep to ourselves, but help others when they need us. I've heard about bandits. Have they bothered you? He scratches the bandage on his cheek. I only know there's one band somewhere, but not around. I never saw them. Are you afraid of Glacia? He straightens up and gives you a long look. I don't know who you're talking about. He doesn't trust me enough to say anything. Uh-oh. What can you tell me about the road behind the gate? Oh, not much. His chuckle turns into a cough. It leads through the lowlands, mostly woods and some ponds. It's dark and lethal. He mentions tales of ghosts, dragons, fogs, and blood mages. But whenever you ask about any creature in particular, his response is brief. The tribes abandoned this path, but ever since the war, the trade has been slow. People refuse to patrol it. The plants are getting taller, but for at least a few more seasons, it's still a shortcut. It's good that you have a mount. If aught chases ye, always stay close to the paths and ride as fast as you can. Why are you here? He scowls at you. Not no one. It's where people hunt for monsters, and every few days I have to open it for other reasons. Interesting. Shouldn't you look for real shelter? He trembles, his eyes widen. Someone has got to stay at the gate. The villages in the east don't know about the illness. They may try crossing the woods, hit the closed gate, while fleeing some wolves and stuff. He rubs his dirty neck. And I also don't leave the gate open. It's like a dam for monsters. If all I can do is choose the way I die, this is it. With my duty fulfilled. I don't know if this is necessarily true, because nighttime seems the scariest, right? And I bet you he needs to stay here. He adjusts his jacket by shaking his shoulders, making the buckles jiggle. I'm not a beggar, and the villages in the north won't help me for more than a day or two. I've got no dragon bones, just this little ibex. He pats his crossbow. Ibex? I don't know. Old Pagos is by itself. We don't look for kind folks. He thinks for a moment. I'll just wait. I'll get back home once the plague's done. Or before winter. You understand, I'm sure. Wardens are souls of duty. I don't have 4 food rations. I need to travel somewhere. 11 hours. We're going to take this. For most of the time, you're surrounded by yellow meadows. The trees on your left get sparser, while the few lonely birches on your right still bear the signs of tapping, marked with knife cuts, tied with cords. Some of them still carry wooden vessels, as if they were simply abandoned, maybe last spring, maybe before that. A few of the trees are already dried out, and the winds managed to knock them down. As you get closer to the crossroads, the ground gets muddy. The beaten path avoids the wetlands as much as it can. The screeches and hisses mix with the buzzing of insects, and as you reach a small pond, there are signs of blood on its bank. The air is moist and heavy and has a hint of rotting meat to it. Ugh. It may still be early, but it's better to avoid the bogs. When nighttime approaches, such places rarely have fine roads. Bogs are darker than forests. The local creatures start their hunt up to an hour earlier. The trees and bushes are sparse here, growing from the barren grassland. Some of them bear late summer fruits. A group of wayfarers is spread, around the broken signpost and the abandoned cart. They're skinny but healthy and are standing upright. They're wearing humble, dim gambesons on top of their hemp tunics and pants, all of them worn, in some cases undyed, while others are dark green and brown. 4 of these individuals wear cloaks and are armed with spears, bows, and stone maces. On their necks, wrists, and belts you spot small talismans. Fangs, bones, wooden beads, leather straps. There's also the 5th figure standing a bit in the back with lowered shoulders. Unlike the others, they're hooded, and in such a manner that you doubt they can see anything other than their boots. Their clothes are shabby, torn, but your eyes mostly run to their club, a bow as long as their owner is tall and as thick as a leg, resting with one end on the ground. You get closer, and the person raises the weapon with just one arm, but another traveler gestures for them to stop, and they do so right away, freezing in place. I stay in the saddle just in case. The man behind the gesture doesn't approach you, just nods. Safe travels, stranger. 'Tmay still be time before the even fall, but bogs aren't safe. Better keep moving, you'll find an inn. You tried to digest his thick accent. It's very thick. He's broad-shouldered with a large belly, but the scars on his face sculpt an image of someone who's earned their share of food with many skirmishes. He doesn't reach for his weapon and pushes one of his companions closer to the cart. She kneels by an empty box and looks inside. The man observes you with a little curiosity. I don't really know what's up with this person. Hello. He gives you a slightly deeper nod this time, then looks at his companions, who simply shrug and spread to take a look at the cart. All but the one with the bow, who doesn't move an inch. I canna say I've time to loaf. You've questions, ask, but be quick. Don't put us to sleep. What's up with this one? He smiles, but you notice the others keenly observe you. Nothing is up. They're keeping us safe. They must be hot. Don't worry about it. See, they don't. Is this your cart? In a way. My neighbors. You then hear one of the women proudly claiming that it belongs to her uncle, but the man doesn't allow you to dig into this topic. We used to carry wood and plants from here to the village, but eventually there was not a thing to carry, and was left for another day. 'Tis trash now. What makes this place special? He sighs, "It used to be a forest garden. My great-grandparents started to harvest various fruits and sap from the birches, but those were other days and other roads. There's nothing for value left, and no time for strong folks to take care of the land." Are you from around here? "Very much so, and you are new to these roads. You know our home?" No. "White Marshes, 'tis there." He looks at the crossroad leading east. "An old place, plenty of stories there, but they rarely reach the ears of strangers, especially these days." He then stretches out and gets closer to the signpost, using his spear as a walking stick. "Well, stay safe, stranger." He raises his voice and addresses his companions. "We wasted too much time on this froth. Time to get back." The others prepare their own weapons and join their guide. The one with the bow stays silent until a gentle gesture commands them to follow. They keep up with the rest of the group, dragging the club behind them with remarkable strength. I would like to forage. I need food. Most of what you find are large apples, not as sour as the wild ones, and some wild strawberries. Picking them takes little effort. The short meadow hides nothing more dangerous than rats, rabbits, mice, and grasshoppers, and with the help of your mount you can reach the higher branches. I don't have nets or bags. Time to keep traveling. I got 8 hours. Old forest garden, once tamed part of the woods, now neglected. Let's go this way. You leave the wetlands behind. The pebbled road runs through the hillside with tall grasses and rock faces above you and dark, lush forest below. Chunks of this path were shaped by human tools. Who knows how many centuries ago to widen it? The builders dug through the uneven boulders and used rocks and logs to fill up the cavities with thousands of rocks, each one smaller than your fist. While you have a good view of what's happening between the trees, with your right, the bushes and shrubs grow so densely between them that you can't imagine entering these woods on your own. Farther south, there are plumes of smoke. A settlement, probably. Oh no, is it another desolated village? At the top of the hill, you reach a stone wall, a quiet place with no smoke coming from behind it. You look inside and see the glimpse of a peaceful ruin. While the main road is beaten and easy for hooves to trod, the destroyed gate and the remains of the front yard have almost been reclaimed by the short grasses. You seek any suspicious movement, but the place seems to be free of inhabitants larger than a falcon. The air is fresh, and the wind shakes the tree crowns gently. We have been going for a very long, long time. So we're going to end here for right now. We will pick up in a later episode. Currently, we are very low on money and food. We do have some food, just not a lot of food. But next to no money. I haven't completed a single quest given to me because I don't know what I'm doing. But it's okay. We're gonna keep figuring out what's going on. And hopefully we don't die anytime soon. But we'll see. Anywho, I'll see you guys later. Adios.